So I know there is a lot in front of me today. A lot of times we work with very minimal products, but today we've got quite a few things that we're going to use. Even though I have all of this in front of me, it still will be a very simple project. So it's something a beginner can do. It's something that an advanced crafter, I guess I should say, could do. So anyways, we'll go ahead and start with what products you're going to need today, or what products I'm going to be using today. You obviously don't have to use everything that I'm using here, but these are kind of just the basics of how I make my signs here. So we are going to start out by using the Cricut machine, and I know it's kind of blocked by a couple of things right now, but I've got a Cricut Explorer Air 2, and that is what we are going to be using to cut out our image today. I am going to be using just a standard grip mat for our stencil material that we're going to be using as well. So I've got my standard grip mat and then my Cricut machine fired up and ready to go in the corner. Speaking of stencil material, I use, I think it's Oracle 831 if I remember correctly. Oh no, 813, sorry. So Oramask 813 masking film. I'll go ahead and link this down below. I'll actually link everything that I'm using today down below, so you're welcome to take a peek at it and see if it's something you'd be interested in using in the future if you don't already have it. So this is what I use for my stenciling material. I find that it works pretty good. I do have issues sometimes of bleeding, but I've kind of solved that with Mod Podge, and I'll show you how. So we're going to be using that today for our stencil material. I am going to be using, I gotta read this. So this is transfer tape that I get from Expressions Vinyl. I'll put their website down below as well, so you can take a peek at them. And this is just their clear transfer tape, and this is a really great one. I use this for pretty much everything. Okay, like I said, we will be using some Mod Podge to kind of put a sealer on there. We are also going to be using just basic white craft paint. So this is just the basic acrylic stuff that you get, that I think it's fairly inexpensive. The same stuff you'd get basically for your kids to do crafts. As far as tools go, I am going to be using my rotary blade here along with my rotary cutting mat. If you don't have a rotary cutter or one of these handy mats, because I know they can be pretty expensive, using scissors is absolutely okay, or even one of the little paper cutters with the slider on it is fine too. Any way that you can cut vinyl is good. And then I am going to be using a brayer as well. I love using a brayer to stick my material onto my Cricut mat. I find that it helps it stick a lot better than if I'm just rubbing my hand on it. All right, and then for the wood, I am using a wood called sapele. I had to think of it there for a second. My dad is a woodworker, and so every piece of material that we use is actually something that's come from a bigger project from his wood shop. So he's got this beautiful I think it's from Africa if I remember correctly, but yeah, it's called sapele, and it is beautiful. I have not had a project that has not worked on it yet, and he's got so much of it. I'm so happy that I've gotten to experiment with it, because it's a really great medium to use for signs. So I've got a couple of pieces of them here. This is how it naturally looks. I don't know if you can see it there. I'll show you up close. That is how it naturally looks, which is beautiful. So you don't have to put any kind of sealant on it. You don't have to put any kind of stain on it. I choose to use a dark stain on my woods because I like to put a white, obviously the white paint on them. So I like it to pop a little bit more and look a little bit more rustic and cowboy farmhouse style-ish. So anyways, you could obviously you could obviously leave it like this. That's absolutely okay. The paint will stick to it fine, the Mod Podge will stick to it fine, and it will come out beautiful. The stain that I use for basically all of my signs is going to be, I think it's Varathane, right? Yeah, so it's the Charred Wood Accelerator, if you can see it there. This works on every single wood I've put it on and gives it a beautiful finish. And I've used several different styles of woods, or several different types of wood, and that has worked on absolutely everything. So this is the after. If you can see, I've already stained it, and it's beautiful with the stain on it. So that's what I'm going to be using for my sign today. I just wanted you guys to see the difference between, you know, just plain and with no stain on it, and then with that Charred Wood Accelerator on it. And then you will need something to put paint and Mod Podge. Well, you might not need to put the Mod Podge on anything. I like that they have a thicker opening at the top, so you can just kind of dip your brush in it. But you'll need something to put paint on. I just have one of these little cheap paint, I don't even know what they call these, to be honest, but I just have one of these little cheap guys. A lot of times I just use like a leftover piece of vinyl or something to pour it onto. So, and then you'll need 2 different brushes. I just use foam brushes. I rinse them out and use them as many times as I can, but they seem to work the best for me for all of the signs that I do. So that is everything that we'll be using. Again, I know it seems like it's a lot, but it will definitely be worth it in the long run, and you will get a really cute little sign at the very end.